pretend to put a smile on my face, and I can stop the pain from rolling down my eyes. But sometimes I cry. Sometimes I cry when I can't do nothing else. Everybody keeps telling me to move on, but I can't seem to go nowhere when you're not here. 'Cause ever since and every single night that you've been gone, sometimes I cry. Sometimes I cry when I can't do nothing else. Sometimes I Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I when I can't do nothing else.
Wow. Just when I start talking, just remember that. Okay. Thanks. Thank you, Nicole, Topher, Keith, and Chris. It's amazing. Good morning, everyone. I'm the low-key introduction. I'm Burke Kapler. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. Unitarian Universalism is a faith without a creed. There is no single statement that you must follow in order to be part of this community. Instead, we are open to and we draw from many religious traditions and many sources of wisdom as we engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We may not reach the same answers, In fact, we probably won't. But we covenant to support and respect each other as we undertake this faith journey. Our congregation practices and embodies the openness of Unitarian Universalism, first and foremost by just being who we are. We are people of all backgrounds, races, genders, sexual orientations, abilities, and disabilities, both seen and unseen. At UUCA, no matter who you are, we hope you will come for community, find inspiration, and live with purpose together. So whether this is your first time worshiping with us or this is your regular Sunday routine, we're glad you're here. A couple of announcements for this Sunday morning. First, we have extended the deadline for responding to our church survey. That deadline is now March 6th, which means you still have a few days to fill it out if you haven't already done so, and more than 250 of you have, so thank you for doing that. You can find a link to the survey in our latest Connections email, or there's actually a QR code in your order of service today, so you can use that too. And if you are old school and you prefer just good old paper, that's in the back at a table at Fellowship Hall. We're happy to help you with that. And we're happy to answer any questions you might have about the survey. As a reminder, this is a homegrown survey. We wrote this, actually. So it is not AI. It is people who really want to know your answers to these questions. So we really appreciate it. And then second, as you've probably seen from your email or from your snail mail, this year's annual campaign is underway. It's called The How and the Why. And so I want to introduce Matt Little from the annual giving team, who's going to talk about some fun incentives for this year. Matt.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Little, and the planning team for this year's annual pledge campaign has been searching for ways to increase the number of pledges, the earliness that the pledges come in, and of course the quality and quantity of the pledges that we get. So we're taking a page out of the book of public radio this year, and we're going with pledge gifts. Now, this is, yes, swag, exactly. Now, and I'm sure many of us have closets full of reusable grocery bags and mugs and socks and other items. And of course, UUCA is not the financial juggernaut of NPR and WAMU. We don't have money just coming out of the woodwork here. So we have one pledge gift to offer per week to those that make a pledge on that week. What we're going to do is we're going to ask you to get your pledges in every week. And when you do, that week you'll be entered into a giveaway, into a raffle for one pledge gift, all right? So we'll be collecting pledges in the back. You certainly have them in email and otherwise. And each week you're going to hear from me and others as we tell you what that pledge gift is that we're raffling off for the week. And I have to tell you, these are quite exciting. The pledge team searched the far quarters of the internet for items coming out of UU history. We've got some awesome stuff. And in fact, today's is a somber one. What we have this week, as our raffle item for all pledges received is a first edition 1965 copy of To Bear Witness. If you are not familiar with this book, this is a UU publication that documents in photos the UU march from Selma to Montgomery in March of 1965 in support of Martin Luther King Jr. I'm just going to read you the opening to this, and then I'll have it in the back after service in case you'd like to take a peek, in case it incentivizes you to get your pledge in. It says, on Monday, March 8th, 1965, almost 59 years ago, Martin Luther King sent telegrams to many religious groups in North America. He sent one to the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston. And I'm paraphrasing here. He says, I call, therefore, join me in Selma. In this way, all America will testify that the struggle in Selma is for the survival of democracy everywhere in our land. With the nation, Unitarian Universalists responded. Thank you.
Matt, thank you so much for that, and thank you to our whole annual giving campaign team. You're going to hear from them and see them throughout the month in your email and in the back in Fellowship Hall, and sharing some of our beautiful and meaningful gifts and some of our also slightly goofier gifts in later weeks. So together we'll make this campaign happen and be able to make our mission happen, which is really what the campaign is all about. I am grateful to be with you this morning. I'm Amanda Poppy. I serve as senior minister here. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve alongside my colleague, Rev CTC, Reverend Carol Thomas Sissel, who is, yes, wave to the people, thank you, our Minister of Social Justice and Community Development, and who is here on the chancel with me this morning, part of your worship team. We are joined by this amazing band. We're so glad to have you with us, and our special vocalist, Nicole. Folks know I always think it's a good day when Nicole's in the church. And Jen, our interim music director, as well as the whole Sanctuary Singers Choir. Wesley and Cameron are in the back making our AV work today, and all of you are creating our worship as well by your presence in the space, by the container that you build with your bodies and your hearts and your minds for us to hold what happens here this morning. So I want to invite you, fellow worship team, to say hello to each other. If you are online, please say hi in the comments so that you can connect across the miles from homes and apartments and Goodwin House and wherever you may be watching from. If you are here, I particularly invite you to turn to someone you did not come in with and say good morning. Our call to worship this morning comes from the Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Dr. Rebecca Edmiston Lang, who for many years served our congregation in Burke, Virginia, the Akatank UU congregation not far from here. Here are her words. Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together, we make it a holy place.
One of our beloved traditions is lighting the candle of compassion on Sunday mornings. This morning, I light our candle of compassion, and I think of all of us who have been broken and wounded, but still hold hope for our futures. I think of those living through the horrors of war in the Middle East, in Ukraine, in Sudan, in Ecuador, in Myanmar, in Colombia, in Mali, in the Congo, in Libya. We are at war in nearly every corner of the world. And I hold them, and I ask you to hold them with compassion too for the horrors they're going through. I light this candle for all of us existing with serious illnesses that we can see and that we can't. Illnesses ourselves, or the illness of family members, our family of bone and blood, or the family we have chosen. And lastly, I have something to share with the community this morning. It is with profound sorrow that I let you all know that we had a death in the community yesterday. John Sutton passed away unexpectedly. Chris was with him, and their daughters were there also. It has really been hard for the girls and for Chris. They're not taking visitors now. They're not accepting phone calls. But I want you all to hold them on your hearts. And when we know more, when we know about the service we'll have for John, Rev. Amanda and myself will let you all know. That's a real loss for our community. Lastly, I want us to remember all of those here in the sanctuary, watching online, everyone in our community that is struggling with grief or holding the loss of someone they love. And let's just take a moment for the Sutton family, please. Thank you. As we move on, we'll light our chalice this morning with our brother and sister and sibling congregations all around the globe. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. Please join me. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
Our opening hymn this morning is one I particularly love because I think it holds the allness of what we do in religious community together. And I suspect that today, this morning, as we sing it together, it will hold a particular meaning, a space to hold grief and love. Will you rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 354? We'll sing verses 1, 2, and 3 this morning. We have a very special ceremony this morning as we welcome some new members. But before we do that, I did wonder if any of our smaller folks would like to join me on the chancel quickly. Oh, good, Teague. Because we're talking today in, sure, was it just you and me? Oh, no, good. Come on up. Yes, oh, yes, thanks so much. Here we go. Now we have a crowd. That's true. And a wolf, I'm so glad. And a dog, I'm so sorry. Yes, well, they're related evolutionarily.
I would have a book.
You would have a book?
Yeah, but it's up in my mind's office.
But you left it somewhere else. And you are the princess. Amazing. And we have a lamb, great, and another dog. Excellent. No. Okay, great, wonderful. We're set, I think. Okay, whew. So today in service, we are talking about a fairy too, and a mouse. I'm so glad. We're talking today in service about crying, actually. Have any of you cried in the last week? I have. Yes, any of you here? Yes. Yep, some people have cried in the last week. Lots of people up here. Sometimes I actually think that kids are better than grown-ups at knowing that crying can sometimes feel good. Have you ever experienced that? If you feel really sad and then you cry, at the end you sometimes actually feel a little better. Have you ever noticed? Yes, me too. Totally. Exactly. And sometimes I think kids can also be better than grown-ups. Like it's just kind of closer to where their hearts live at knowing what to do if someone near you is crying. So I wonder if you could give the grown-ups some ideas. If you see someone crying, what do you try to do to support them, or what do you like other people to do if you are crying? Emerson Grace?
Well, if someone is crying, you should ask them what's wrong to see if you can help them.
If someone is crying, you should ask them what's wrong to see if you can help them. That is wonderful advice. Yes?
Well, I've never really done this before, but you should give them a pat on the back.
You should give them a pat on the back. I like that idea too. Yes. Oh, 1 second, Mertil. Yes. You should understand how they feel, and if they want to be left alone, you should leave them alone. That's right, because sometimes you want someone with you and sometimes not, right? Mertil. If they have a scratch and the scratch is bleeding and you have a Band-Aid, you should give them one. That might help too. I agree, yes. I find Band-Aids very helpful when crying, actually. Any other ideas over here of what we could do or what you like people to know when you're crying? Those were pretty good, I think. Leave them alone if they want. Do you want to add one, Billy? What do you think? Not sure? Yeah. Sometimes we don't know what to do when someone is crying, and it can be good to just ask what they would like. I really liked that suggestion. And see if they'd like a pat on the back or maybe a hug. What do you think, Sophia?
Or you could say what happened.
You could ask what happened. That's right. What do you want to do? I think that is a perfect way to begin. So grown-ups, you got some good advice here this morning on what to do if you see someone crying near you, whether that is another grown-up or a child, and maybe some advice about what would help you to feel better. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom this morning with us. We are going to sing you on your way to your, no, we're not. Actually, you're going to stay right here for the new member ceremony. Okay, so go back into your places, because now, if part of what we do at church is help each other out when we are crying, right? We also get to celebrate when we have good things happening. And there's a good thing happening today, I believe. There is a good thing happening this morning. You know what, kiddos? We are going to have a bunch of people come up on the chancel right now. Thanks, Billy. Yeah, go hang out with Mama. All right. Well, what's happening, Rev CTC?
I think new members?
Yes, I think so.
We're inviting
Yes.
new members? Today we're welcoming new members. This is our community. This is our tribe. They are entering this collective with hope and possibility in their hearts. they're promising to participate in and to support the ministries of this church. Will the new members please come forward to the chancel? And will Nicole Haley, our congregational engagement manager, please join us on the chancel too. So if you all would just line up across and face that way so they can see you. It's for show.
I'm going to share with you these folks' names, but I do want to first just say that this is Nicole's first new member class, the first class of new members that Nicole, in her position as Congregational Engagement Manager, gets to welcome in. So I'm excited for you too, Nicole. And we are so glad to have with us Alyssa and James. You want to give a wave so we know who you are? And Ariana and Russ, there you are in the middle. Cindy, Daniel and Linda, Melissa, Morgan and Daniel, and Myrtil, would you like to be up here with your family or no? You're good, okay, that's cool. Tyne and Valerie, we are so glad to have you with us this morning.
Today, each of you has chosen to embrace the spirit of love and welcome and understanding that flows through our church. It's my hope that UUCA becomes a beacon of light and that light illuminates your pathway through life. Please know, we all welcome you to this community and to your joining us in this faith.
Ours is a free church. We have no creeds. You are encouraged to bring your ideas and beliefs to this community to share with others. We invite you to join with us in the religious search for meaning and purpose in life, informed by our individual beliefs and the traditions of Unitarian Universalism.
And here's your part. Will the members of the congregation please rise, embody your spirit, and respond with the words that are printed in your order of service. Congregation in unison, please. We welcome you, as once we were welcomed ourselves. We seek to be open and inclusive and will respect your inherent dignity, your ideas, and your vision, in times when it is easy and in times when it is difficult. New members, you have a part now. We join this church freely and willingly. We accept your welcome with gratitude. Thank you for reaching out to us with both open hearts and minds. And I think this is us, this part.
It is. Knowing that we may not always live up to our ideals. Let's start again.
Can we start again?
You ready? Okay. Knowing that we may not always live up to our ideals, we ask that you recognize our humanity. And when we fall short, we invite you to stay in relationship with us and help us continue to carry the spirit of love.
Congregation, in unison, please. We welcome you as equal members of this congregation, of this faith, and as partners on our shared spiritual journey.
This is a time for applause, because with great joy we welcome these new members of our community this morning. You may be seated. Nicole has a gift for each one of you. And as you leave then, we'll invite you to sign the membership book, except I don't know where it is.
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Nicole will facilitate your signing of the membership book at a later date.
Welcome.
Yes, you'll be
Hello,
good.
friends. Welcome aboard.
Did we move the membership book somewhere? I
I
can't find it.
don't see it.
We can't. Do you have it, Nicole?
Nicole has the book.
Nicole has everything.
Of course she has the book.
Of course she does. Lovely. Beautiful.
I'll take the basket.
Thank you.
So you have two hands.
So if folks will just
And
come
now
right
they get to sign their lives
around.
away in the membership book.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. There we go.
So you guys are going to find your name. Signature? Yeah, signature above your name. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Would you rather have a green one?
Isn't that terrible?
Oh, no, you can trade.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Would anybody rather have a red one? Yeah. Perfect.
Welcome, Linda. Welcome, Daniel, officially.
Don't sign somebody else's. Perfect. Thank you, Cindy. Thanks again.
Welcome, Cindy.
Melissa and Alyssa.
Yay,
Awesome.
welcome.
Welcome, guys, of course. That's okay.
Welcome. Do you want a fist bump? Welcome.
Terrific. Thank you.
Welcome, Russ.
Thanks, Ariana.
Welcome. So glad you're officially here.
Thanks, Faye. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, on the line. What? We're just down. Okay.
It's okay. We got it. There's no right way.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Daniel. More applause, please.
And now I'd like to invite our children to go on to their classes. We'll sing them on their way. Words are in your order of service.
Let's take a breath in and let that breath out. And one more in and let that breath out. And as we move deeper into our service, I offer you a prayer. Some people pray, some people meditate, some just hold the space. Please do what is most comfortable for you in this moment in time. Source of sources, Divine One that moves within, around, and works through us. Come to this place. Draw near and rest a moment with these people. We turn to you today in the trying hours when conflict is a daily reality for our sisters and brothers in the Ukraine, in Israel, in Palestine, and around the globe. We promise to work our utmost for peace and reconciliation, but we know we need you and each other. We know we cannot move down this road alone. Source of sources, Divine One, we need the strength of your presence in our midst, and we need the love of our family and our friends. If we are to overcome the pain and the suffering and the obstacles before us, we ask you to help us to be strong, to be supportive, to move through barriers that seem impassable. Spirit of love and life, today in this prayer, I petition. I ask that you fill our cups to overflowing and teach us to be peacemakers. Guide us in our pursuit of justice and the common good. Inspire us to welcome all, forgive all, and love all. Help us to work to restore broken relationships in our families and around our community. Let compassion and patience break down the barriers of suspicion and mistrust. O Divine One, draw near. Let us become beacons of hope for all creation, and let us work together as one. For we do want peace and justice in this world. Draw near. Help restore our spirits. Amen. Ashe. And blessed be. I just want to give a little shout out to the music we have here at church that brings us such joy and holds our services together. We are a community that gives. Usually I would stand here and tell you who the Share the Plate person was for the month. As this is our annual campaign month, instead, I have the pleasure of introducing someone who'll give a testimonial, why they come to UUCA, what it means to them to be in this community and why they've chosen to support the work in particular of this congregation and to help us maintain our place in the world. I want you to welcome Morgan to the microphone. Morgan McLean.
Good morning. I am Morgan McLean, and along with my husband Daniel Kirsch, we are the very proud and very tired parents of Myrtle. Myrtle is almost 5 years old, and she loves dancing in the aisles, running up on the chancel to see what's going on. And you might occasionally find her under the piano during coffee hour making a fort. We are committed as a family to making church a priority in our lives. All three of us need a community, thank you, where we move flame out of our ways and where we can just be who we are and where we are invited to reflect on how we make meaning in our lives. And as parents, honestly, we need this 1 hour a week that feeds our weariness with silence and music and coffee and friendship. Recently, I had a UU parenting moment that I am not so proud of, but it reminded me of why I need this church. Myrtle didn't want to do whatever it was that I was suggesting that she do. No one is surprised by now by that fact. And she said, "You are not the boss of me, God is." Oh, it gets worse. He is the chief of everything. So the first thing out of my mouth, and that's what I'm not proud of, we don't believe that in this house. And then I said, who says that God is a he? I just know it. And what does God look like? He has an owl head and a firebird body. So that description stopped me long enough to remember to let it go. And I thought, I'm so grateful that she has, and I have, but she has UUCA to bring that owl-headed God to. And so when I asked her if it was okay if I shared that story today, she said, I'll get my costume ready. Hence the outfit. Here she will. Yeah, thank you. Here she will eventually learn that there are other animal-headed gods and goddesses, and at least one god with a white beard, and goddesses with many arms, and she'll learn that not everyone believes in God, and some people don't ever use the word God, and it's all good. That's all good. And we have so much to learn from each other about what we mortals do on our time on this earth. So when our family was asked to make an annual financial pledge, we did so full of gratitude for the love and acceptance that all three of us have already found here, and for the commitment that we have to supporting this congregation for others. We hope others will come here in the fullness of who they are and dance in the aisles and experience wonder and find silence and explore life's big questions alongside us. Thank you for being part of this community with us, and I hope that you'll join my family in pledging generously to the extraordinary vision and work of this congregation. Thank you.
Will the ushers please collect an offering? She's hilarious.
Something else.
please join me in the words to bless our offering? We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. And together, let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation. Amen. Thank you all. So many microphones. Let's go like this. One of the great pleasures of building worship together with Rev Amanda is when we each find something to bring to the service. What she has found and shared with me is a reading I'm now going to share with you. This is from a book called Congratulations, the Best is Over. It was written by R. Eric Thomas. It's a collection of essays. This is what it looks like if you're shopping for it. I highly recommend it. It's about the trials and tribulations of life. They're short essays that you can read in bite-sized pieces. And mostly it reminds us that we are not alone on this journey. What I offer you today is 2 different excerpts. The first: even in okay times, there is a subterranean river of melancholy in me, and sometimes a productive afternoon is comprised of using YouTube videos of varying qualities as though they are divining rods. I watch these videos, some of which I could recite by heart, and I find the mouth of the river and I stoop down and I place my hands deep in the sadness. And it feels like God, and it feels like the truth, and it feels like finally. It feels like for a moment I don't have to walk around this world looking all neutral, because as much as I was struggling, I didn't look any different to the world. And you know, sometimes you don't look different, so you start to think maybe what you're feeling is not real. Maybe you're faking it, or you're deceiving yourself. Or maybe this is just what neutral feels like. But the world is not neutral, and I'm not neutral. And as many times as I send my little emails using the appropriate number of exclamation points, and have small talk with Uber drivers that I don't know, and try to remember if I've watered the plants or taken my pills, or if I ate breakfast this morning, I still always have the thought, can anybody see what's really happening here? Which is to say, aren't we all human people walking around with all of our experiences, all of our sadness and joy, all of our grief and hope, all of our fear, barely contained by our skin and our adherence to decorum? I'm not saying that I want to walk around all the time feeling publicly, but it sure seems a waste of time, a waste of life, to never go to the real depth and see what's actually there. A second excerpt. I am not made smaller by the big feelings. They are the things that remind me that I am alive. They are the things that, when in darkness, remind me that I'm searching for the light. They aren't always the things I need, but I think that inside them, mixed with happiness, mixed with sadness, mixed with the joy and the grief, there is truth. I just want to get to the truth. I write to get to the truth. I watch to see the truth. I go to the theater and find the truth. And I laugh, and I gasp, and I cry, and at the end, I clap and clap and clap until my hands hurt. 2 excerpts from Congratulations, the Best is Over by R. Eric Thomas.
I often think on Sunday mornings that I have the best seat in the house, Rev CTC, and I have the best seats in the house up here because we get to watch all of you. We get to watch when an elder comes in while the junior choir is singing and to see the smile on their face. We get to watch friends find each other in the pews. That's a good one. Someone standing at the back, having come to church on their own that Sunday and looking to see who they might sit with. And then finally there's a, oh, hey, over here. We get to watch you find each other. We get to watch some of you bop along or dance along with the hymns, not just Myrtle, though I will say she is the leader, really, of the hymn dancing situation, but some of the adults too. And I get to watch you cry on Sundays. Now, I know that may sound a little odd, but let me reassure you, if you are thinking right now, she must mean me, she's watching me cry a lot, that's probably strange. I assure you that lots of people cry in church. During the music, sometimes. During a reading, if the words move them just right, or during a wisdom lesson when we find that children are closer to the heart of things than we let ourselves be. During a sermon sometimes, but I don't think it's what I say. Truthfully, I don't think it's about any of those particular words or moments in church. Actually, I know it can't be that because sometimes people will come in and start crying before anything has even happened. What I think is that when we are at our very best, when we are the most church that we can be, we are a place where someone can tell that it's okay to not be okay. A place where you can cry. A couple of weeks ago, maybe you saw this in the news, a couple of weeks ago, Elmo, the Muppet from Sesame Street, posted on the platform formerly known as Twitter. You know, I don't know about that platform. We all make choices, Elmo, but I do like what Elmo posted. I'll attempt to share it the way Elmo would have. Elmo is just checking in. How's everybody doing? Well, I'm not sure what Elmo thought he would receive in response to his post. I don't know if he thought it would have 150 million impressions and rather a lot of comments. I read an Atlantic article about Elmo's experience, and it quoted some of the responses. Honestly, Elmo, I need a hug, wrote one user. Oh, Elmo, sweetheart, we are not doing well, wrote another. Elmo, girl, I am having a quarter-life crisis right now, and I can't get my bleep together to finish this last semester. I'm mentally burnt out, and I have a lifetime of working to go, said another user. Eventually, Elmo worked with some of the producers at Sesame Street to post mental health resources to make sure that people knew that they could reach out, and then wrapped it up a couple of days later with another post. Wow, Elmo is glad he asked. Elmo learned that it is important to ask a friend how they are doing. Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you. # emotional well-being. This is the state of the world out there. We are so desperate for places where we can pull back the mask of neutrality, where we can say how we really are, that we are willing to tell it to our favorite Muppet. Hundreds of thousands of us respond with the truth for once. Because we are asked for neutrality by the world around us. We are asked to respond when the question is, how are you? With fine, thanks, or good, thanks, or even maybe great, thanks, I'm great, thanks so much, thanks, yep, great. I think the more times you say it, the more you try to convince yourself that it is real, but I don't know about you, but a lot of the time when people ask, how are you? My answer really is not, fine, good, great, thanks, but something deeper. A lot of the time, things are not great, thanks. Not great actually doesn't even begin to cover how things are. In a world in crisis and in conflict in our democracy here in the United States, the safety of people to move their bodies through space here, as well as the list of wars and violence, atrocities around the world that Rev CTC shared during our Candle of Compassion. It's not great. Our own lives are filled with grief, whether from the sudden loss of a loved one, as our congregation holds most acutely this morning, or from the long heartache of long-held sadness. It's not great. It's not great as we navigate transitions and the unknown and the space in between, the changes that seem to come with life over and over and over again, just when we thought everything was set. Not great. And it's not great when we struggle with our mental health, with depression and anxiety, with what R. Eric Thomas calls the river of melancholy through his life. Challenges that add yet another layer to the difficulty of our everyday. No, Elmo, we are not okay. And yet, we say it again and again, fine, good, thank you, I'm great, I'm doing great, thank you. I like to think that I am someone who is at least beginning to recover from saying, I'm doing fine, great, thank you. One of the joys of parenting teens and tweens is what they teach me, what they bring to me that I would not have had access to on my own, that I would not have found just on my lonesome. And a particular joy for me, a particular gift to my life right now, is the music that Joanna, my 12-year-old, introduces me to. Like all stories that include my children, this one was vetted beforehand. And I will say, I'm going to share a couple of the songs that have been particularly meaningful to me. Joanna asked me to note for you that one of them's a couple years old, and she listens to current music. But So Joanna introduces to me music from Gen Z musicians, in particular, kind of younger millennial and Gen Z musicians. And one of the things I love about them are the way that they are willing to be honest with their emotional experience. Joanna really loves that kind of music and has brought it more into my life than my own Spotify algorithm would have. And so we drive around. Sometimes we even get to where we're going and we keep driving so we can listen to all the songs she has queued up in the list for us. We have an electric car, I'm glad to tell you. And there are a few that really speak, I think, to the power of naming when we are not okay. Em Bellhold has a song called Numb Little Bug. That's the one that's a couple of years old. It's okay, I still like it. I think you can listen to it. Do you ever get a little bit tired of life? Like you're not really happy, but you don't want to die? Like you're hanging by a thread, but you've got to survive? Like your body's in the room, but you're not really there? Like you have empathy inside, but you don't really care? Like you're fresh out of love, but it's been in the air? Am I past repair? Megan Thee Stallion, who's a younger millennial, not Gen Z, has a song called Anxiety. Y'all don't even know how I feel. I don't even know how I feel. Today, I really hate everybody, and that's just me being real. And Olivia Rodrigo, who has shot to stardom in the last couple of years, in her song Brutal sings, "I feel like no one wants me and I hate the way I'm perceived. I only have 2 real friends and lately I'm a nervous wreck because I love people I don't like and I hate every song I write and I'm not cool and I'm not smart and I can't even parallel park." Now let me tell you, maybe you have had this experience, that sometimes it's the parallel parking that gets you. At the end of a day that has been full of grief, a day when you have been just trying to make it through, a day when you have felt anger or sadness or anything that doesn't fit the mask of neutrality, but you have been pulling it tight, making sure that you look just right for the Zoom meetings and the yes, good, thanks, I'm fine. On those days, when you have made it through the whole way right up until the moment that you cannot get the car into the parallel parking spot right, and you sit there with your car at an angle and tears streaming down your face because finally you got the release that you needed. For me, music often provides that release, that shortcut to being able to strip off the mask of neutrality that the world asks from us. That lets me say out loud, to sing it at least to an empty car, "No, Elmo, I'm not okay. Yes, today I feel like a numb little bug." Those tears, I think, those tears invite us to be more fully human, to allow ourselves the wholeness of a not neutral world. There has been learning for me in this wholeness out of my work, learning in the disability justice community, a community that teaches us that there is no way that we in a human existence will be fine all the time, that every one of us will experience moments of disability as we go through life, disability in our body or disability in our minds. And that challenges us not to say, "Oh yes, I'm fine, thank you," but rather to say back to the world, "Will you meet me where I am? Will you change yourself so that I can be fully what I am in this moment? So I can pull back the mask of neutrality and show you my real self." Now, there is a caveat to all of this, a caveat to the idea of crying in church, the idea that we need a place where we can be real with the grief that we hold, real with the sadness that we carry. Because the other thing I have noticed is that not all tears in church are sad ones. There are tears of relief, too. Tears of being seen, tears of finding a place where you can be yourself wholly and authentically. Often those are the tears that start before the gathering music has even begun. The tears that have nothing to do with the topic of the day or even the events of the week, but that are about a heart recognition of being in the right place at that particular moment. A colleague asked me recently how we were launching our annual giving campaign. You know, March is when many congregations do their annual giving campaign. So, of course, we all go on Facebook to complain about that. And so he asked what it was I was preaching on. And I told him that the name of the sermon that we were going to start the month with was "We Come to Church to Cry." He was unconvinced that this would be a good beginning to annual giving. You know, usually annual giving campaigns start with sermons that paint a vision and talk about all the amazing things we've done and all the amazing things we'll do and how we're really great, thanks. And we will talk about some of that vision over the course of the month, and you'll hear how we've made a difference and how we hope to keep making a difference. But if I am honest, I think that creating a space where we can cry openly and together, and alone when we need to be alone, where we can feel safe enough to let down our neutral masks and feel the big feelings publicly. If I am honest, I think that creating that kind of space is one of the reasons that we do church together. And it may be that in our tears, we are most open to another reason we do church together, our connection to the divine, to the sacred, to the most holy, with owl head and firebird wings, or however it appears to us. I want to close this sermon with a poem, a piece that I found on a wonderful liturgical resource that's available online. I recommend it always, called Enfleshed. Enfleshed is a queer collective of writers from a variety of different denominations and backgrounds. This piece is by M. Jade Kaiser, and it is titled When the Tears Come. When the tears come, hold out your hands. Like the last leaves quivering on empty branches, finally accepting the closure of a season, let them fall. Slowly and softly onto your palms, receive them as an offering, in praise of your strength, in honor of your tenderness, in forgiveness of your regrets, in acceptance of loss. You will find God praying with you. They'll light a candle for every tear. They'll place a flower on your hands like an altar. They'll chant softly to the tune of your weeping. No words are needed for this kind of worship. When the heart gets a moment to catch its breath, and pain is released like a long, slow exhale, the sacred draws close to hear the testimony of your grief. May it be so. We're going to invite the choir to come up and move into our closing music this morning. A closing music that reminds us we need each other. As we extinguish our chalice,
Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice. They're in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light and warmth it represents. These we carry with us, bringing our sparks of love to the world.
my friends, I exhort you not to stay on neutral, to find the space for big feelings, to feel them publicly if you can, and to remember we need each other to survive.
so glad to see you here.